gonna try hauling some corn today. Hey, welcome back. We're heading out. We're gonna start picking up a grain bag. For those of you might not know what a grain bag is, you'll see here in a second, but they're big white long tubes that we store grain in. They're just plastic bags, and then we fill them with a grain bag loader. If you want to go back and see some of my harvest videos, you can check that out. This is kind of how we pick them back up. There's a machine that just rolls them up, and as it's rolling them, it kind of shoves that grain into an auger and puts it into the truck there. So or you can do it into a grain cart depending on conditions around the bag. But so we're gonna hook up to one of these grain bags. We're gonna start hauling some corn out of this guy here. Well, now we're gonna clean up the bag.
Yep, let's lift it up and go ahead and drop it down and come back. Been working pretty good.
Yeah.
Just depends on
So right now what we're doing is we like to back up and go forward a few times to get it as clean as we can. That reduces the scooping of it anyway, because you still got to have some scoops going on. But we try to do this without ripping the bag either, so.
Pulling that old board pretty good.
Yeah. Starting to break out a little bit there.
Might have to back up. It should get more than that. Collecting as much moisture.
I'll let you run this stringer. Comes close to the hitch. Now I think we could bring this in right here.
I didn't know if you wanted to get both sides in or just one.
Okay. So I'm taking it over to our next field. I don't know if we'll actually set it up because we don't have a truck up here. But the elevator's closed today. I think they're doing maintenance or something, but not really sure, but we're just gonna move it up there and then tomorrow they can either get started again, hauling some corn out of it anyway. One thing that I've really noticed quickly with this tractor is it's very quiet. I mean, you really gotta watch yourself if you gotta pass gas. Everybody will hear it still. For you, those of you guys new to the channel and watching the grain bag operation going on, we've been doing that since 2009. We actually used them a lot more before you kind of seen maybe some of our new bin complex going up. That was kind of the goal of this bin complex as well, to kind of reduce that use of the grain bags, because we're starting to use them quite a bit. Just made it a lot more work to get done in the springtime, because usually we like to have those grain bags picked up before we start planting, because a lot of them are in the fields that we use them in. Getting those picked up before May kind of limits some of your marketing in that aspect. Putting up these bins, we can go further into like July and stuff. We still kind of want to spread out our hauling over the season. So yeah, if you have any questions about the grain bags, they are a good way to have some overrun storage or temporary storage, because sometimes you kind of just need some flexible storage, and they make a great opportunity for that. Exclusive storage, it's a lot of work, because each bag we put about, depending on the length of the bag, you can put about, in a 300-foot bag, we get about 13,000 to 14,000 bushels, and given the pack and all that stuff. But that's why we're kind of diversifying our grain storage a little bit with that grain facility. So I got a section here I'm going to call R&R. It's not what you think. It's not rest and relaxation. It's going to be called Rob's Ramblings, I think is what I'll call it. I'll set up shop here so I can talk. So I wanted to talk to you about Xtend soybeans and what they are. Well, Xtend soybeans, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, we've grown soybeans for years. It's a formulation of soybeans that are able to take on a new trait, which allows us to spray a newer formulation of dicamba on them. And what that means is dicamba is an old chemical, and it's been around for years, but they've kind of kept improving the formulation of it, because the older versions were very volatile, meaning they could drift easily. They were just not as well contained as like these newer formulations that they came out with on Xtend soybeans. Some of the new chemicals are like Extendamax, Ingenia, and Fexapan, I think, are the three big ones. I don't think there's any more, but anyway, you can apply those, and that's what's labeled for these new Xtend soybeans. But we still have to take a separate test for spraying this chemical by itself. So to kind of go back, we already, every 3 years, us farmers take a private applicator's pesticide, I don't know what you call it, seminar type thing. We have to go through there, and then we get our private applicators a card. Show you, the universities go through and show you how to safely apply chemicals. That dicamba training is one that has to be renewed every single year. And it's not hard. You can actually go online. It's a lot faster to do it that way, or you can go to other training sessions and sit through their instructions and whatnot on how to apply this new dicamba. The thing that's crazy to me is we have to take these tests for a newer, safer formulation of dicamba that's prone to less drifting, but we do not have to take it to still spray those older formulations of dicamba, the ones that are more volatile. And it's just crazy to me. The reason why we have to do that is just to make it look to the outside like we're trying to do well with these new dicambas, when in reality it should be the other way around. We should be training on these old dicambas, but we're already getting that training every 3 years, and so on how to use these. Us at Farmers want to do a good job at applying chemicals anyway. We don't want it to drift on our neighbor's field if it's there, and we want to do the best ways we can, because usually that field next to us is sometimes our own fields, and let alone having it be your neighbors. You just don't want that headache of killing somebody else's crop. And so my issue with it is just doing these uncommon sense things just to kind of appease outside groups. I don't know, that's just kind of one of my one category ramblings I just had for today, is the issue with extend soybeans and the testing farmers have to take to do it. And I want to reiterate, I'm not against testing and all that. It's just the uncommon sense approach that we have to do for EPA regulations, and a lot of that goes on. There's other things, but I won't get into that right now. That's one of the things I just wanted to convey to you guys that we have to go through. Why do we use it is because it's about the only tool left in our tool bag for water hemp and Palmer amaranth out in our area if it emerges from the ground. Now there's a lot of pre-emerges that we apply already to try to keep them from growing, because that's the best way to fight those kind of weed groups, but there's always going to be an escape somewhere in the field, and so we need that dicamba to be able to go out there and kill those in our area, because Roundup is not killing those weeds anymore. And so that's why I'm somewhat passionate about it, because just because you don't need it in your area doesn't mean other farmers don't need it in other areas. And so I don't want to be that guy that complains all the time just to get it my way on what my situation is. We got to look at it as a collective group on who needs these tools and how do we distribute them correctly. So hey guys, thanks for watching kind of how we pick up a grain bag and my ramblings. If someone liked it, please hit subscribe and hit the bell if you want, and we'll catch you on the next one.